Hey, another 90-second insight. This is part 2 of the benefits of mindfulness. Here we go. Okay, so in part 1, we talked about the physiological benefits of mindfulness, including the regulation of cortisol. Now we're going to jump into the brain, the neuroscience. Now, I'm not a neuroscientist, so I'm not going to throw a bunch of brain parts and terms at you and pretend I know what I'm talking about. But in my training and in my reading and study, there are some concepts that I do really understand. And one has to do with a circuit in our brain called the default mode network. Now, you can think of this almost as like a built-in AI system whose goal is to constantly automate and make more and more efficient our interaction with day-to-day life. In some ways, this is fantastic because it saves a lot of time on routine tasks that we don't have to rethink about every single day. But the downside of the default mode network kicking in as sort of this automated system is that it allows our mind to wander. It's kind of an autopilot. Mind wandering has been linked to several problems, including dementia, depression, and even ADHD. Mindfulness has this effect of overriding the default mode network temporarily. And this is a powerful thing because it's about becoming present. Now listen, Michael Pollan in his amazing book, How to Change Your Mind, this is actually about the use of psychedelics in therapy and, other treatments, including for depression and things like this. He talks a lot about this default mode network, and I'm about to wrap up. Give me 20 seconds here. And there was a study by Judson Brewer that determined, after putting people into the fMRI machine, that the transcendence of self reported by expert meditators showed up on fMRIs as a quieting of the default mode network. It appears that when activity in the default mode network falls off precipitously, the ego temporarily vanishes and the usual boundaries we experience between self and world, subject and object, all melt away. Now, this is the case for extreme meditators, but the research on mindfulness shows kind of a more everyday effect of a sense of presence, a sense of awareness in where you are right now with what you're doing in the moment, and this can counteract over time some of these negative effects of going into autopilot. So think about mindfulness as a way to counteract autopilot mode. When autopilot is off, we do have awareness of what? Of our thoughts, of our emotions, and our sensations, which allows us to what? To respond rather than react. And that's really the crux of it. So thanks for tuning in. In part 3, we're going to talk about the psychology. I'll see you then.